Hello keen painters! Welcome to this Colour of the Month guide. In this series we'll be exploring how to use your Citadel paint range to get some exciting colour combinations and army schemes. This month we'll be painting a rich and bright golden yellow that you can use on so many different models in your collection. In this guide we'll be using an Eldari Guardian to walk you through these steps. We'll also look at how we can use the same recipe on various other armies we can find in Warhammer the Horus Heresy and Age of Sigmar. The paints and equipment that we'll be using are on the screen right now, and if you don't have mediums you can replace these with water instead. If you're new to painting or want to brush up on your skills, you can check out the Citadel Colour Painting Essentials videos to learn all about paints and techniques. So our yellow can really stand out, we'll be undercoating our models in Wraithbone, as this creamy colour will make the yellow warm and bright. If you're using this guide on something you're already painting, we can use a pot of Wraithbone as our base coat beforehand and tidy up any mistakes we make along the way. So let's start painting. We can start our yellow with a layer of Imperial Fist over the armour of our Guardian. This contrast paint is great for this rich and warm yellow by adding the colour all over and letting it settle into the recesses, giving us a slightly soft shade automatically. Just remember to make sure you apply enough in small sections so we get that full coverage. But we don't overwhelm those areas too. So keep an eye out for pooling as you work around the model. If you notice pooling whilst it's still wet, make sure you dry off your brush before soaking it away, as we don't want any water to mix with the contrast paint and dilute it. You can even just take the brush that you're already using and dry it off gently with some paper towel, as it doesn't really matter if it's already had some paint on from before. With our contrast fully dry, we'll be thinning down 1 part Cassandra yellow with 2 parts Larmium medium to create a light and soft shade to go over all that area. Just by adding this lighter shade, we're adding a little bit more warmth to the recesses, rather than using a shade with a brown or sepia tone, which would desaturate this bright colour. Just like with our contrast paint, we want to make sure we apply enough into those recesses to cover smoothly, and we can soak away any excess while still wet. Even with just 2 paints, our armour is battle ready and looks rather bright and warm. You could stop here and apply this to any of the models you have and carry on painting your other details. Or you can add these extra steps to make this yellow look even more sharp and lavish. We'll be applying Flash Skits Yellow as our chunky highlight with a small layer brush. This starts the foundations for all our highlights by lining around and picking out any areas that we need to focus on. We will need to make sure that the point on our brush is super sharp. So we'll twist the brush on our palette after thinning down our paint a little, bringing all those bristles all together. This also helps us control the amount of paint on our brush too, so we don't apply too much in one go. We can use both the side of our brush to pick out any sharp edges, and the point for the rest of the details. Just take your time and all those edges will be picked out in no time at all. With that first highlight down, we can add our Phalanx Yellow highlight. Using the same techniques as our first one, we'll be applying less to those same edges, so the Flash Skits Yellow can still be seen underneath. So just pick out the very edges, corners and curves. This will be nice and quick, but still remember to keep your paint thin, brush pointed and hand steady. We can already see a massive difference with a few simple paints. And if you really want to make this yellow even more bright and rich, we'll add a dot highlight to the very tops and edges with Dawn Yellow. This may seem odd to use a pastel yellow rather than a pure brighter yellow, but it can really change the finish of our colour. This can actually accentuate those golden tones in the paint, rather than just the yellow and orange ones. This won't take long to paint at all, so just make sure that you use the tip of the brush. And with those extra paints, our golden yellow is now complete on our Eldari Guardian. Now let's take a look at some other examples we've used the same steps on, but with slightly different materials. On this Mark III Space Marine, the yellow looks great for solid Imperial Fist armour, giving it enough shading to those recesses and the plate edges getting enough light effect from that Dawn Yellow finish. And this Stormcast Vanquisher has a nice rippled swathe of cloth. Those highlights and shadows really help to show how dynamic those folds and edges are. This colour is perfect if you're thinking about painting the Astral Templar chamber for your army. For more tutorials, tips and tricks, check out our videos on the Warhammer YouTube channel, or head to your local Warhammer store where our amazing staff would be happy to help. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you next time. Bye bye!